Our final full moon of the year occurs in Gemini and arrives on Saturday, December 18th at 11:35 p.m. Eastern. I'm here to talk about it and break it down for each sign. For those of you who don't know, my name is Anastasia. I'm a traditional Western astrologer. I do natal and predictive readings. If you're new to my channel, please subscribe, leave me a comment, hit the like button. All of your support is extremely appreciated. I am currently doing a webinar on December 18th, actually the day of the full moon, dedicated to the astrology of 2022. If you'd like to know more, if you'd like to know how 2022 astrology will affect you personally, you can sign up at the link down below, as well as get a reading with me if you are so inclined. So this full moon is happening on December 18th at 27 degrees Gemini. So if you have any planets at 27 degrees mutable signs, Gemini, Sagittarius, Virgo, and Pisces, you may feel this stronger, but overall it's a relatively calm and happy full moon. There's a bit of a healing potential with Mercury being the ruler of the moon currently in Capricorn squaring Chiron. But for the most part, the moon is aspecting Jupiter in a harmonious aspect, so it feels like a completion, change, culmination, but with good results. And so this is a completion of a cycle that started with the solar eclipse in Gemini on June 10th, 2021. And even more so, it's a completion of a year and a half long cycle that started in June 2020. So you can listen to what I'm talking about when it comes to your rising sign and see what changes have transpired in that sector in the last year and a half, because you may definitely see a bigger arc if you look at that longer period. So Jupiter being supportive definitely is great for any matters related to expansion, education, travel, anywhere where it comes to getting support of other people, getting recognized for something. Like I said, the ruler of the moon also squares Chiron, so a bit of like needing to face your demons. It is Gemini, right? So even though there's harmonious aspects, full moon in the sign of the twins may still be rather kind of busy, and it's likely going to be busy intellectually. It might be busy when it comes to the amount of phone calls you're receiving, the emails you're sending, maybe you're planning something. There could be like a lot of stuff going on intellectually. So it could be, for everyone, this could be a lovely idea to streamline your routines and do something to unload, like make sure you're not overexerting yourself. We live in this society where you're meant to work really hard, right? And as a Virgo, and I run into clients who feel really bad when they're not productive, and there's nothing wrong with once in a while taking a break. That's why Buddhism exists and meditation exists. All you're doing is just learning to relax. How crazy is it, right? We live in society where you need to learn how to pause. So great opportunity, I would say, to look at your schedule, even look at who you're sending those messages to. Are you spending more time on your phone playing a phone game versus reading a book? Which one is more satisfying for you? Do you feel like maybe you love playing a game, then keep playing the game, but maybe you feel terrible and you would enjoy reading a book a lot more? So figure out your priorities when it comes to information intake. I think this full moon, to me, with this aspect to Jupiter, and Jupiter about to enter Pisces, it's literally, few days away, 10 days away, is also about taking a look at the things you believe and things you tell yourself. If it's a Gemini energy, they're the twins. There might be one nice twin, one not so nice twin, and maybe you're listening to the negative one. Maybe you don't allow yourself to fly as high, right? Mercury's in Capricorn ruling this full moon, and Chiron is in Aries. And what is happening is Chiron and Aries, there might be a sense of doubting your own abilities, doubting your leadership skills, your ability to go off on your own and be independent. Especially with that Mercury in Capricorn, more slow, rational, pragmatic energy. older energy. Capricorn always feels like, you know, this big boss, someone who plays by the rules, who have climbed the ladder. So look at your own conservative beliefs and see which ones don't serve you anymore. How can you start with one little thing, right? Like maybe it's an affirmation in the mirror every morning. What can you do to change your thinking patterns? And I really like this exercise where you write down some of your old beliefs and then you change them. You don't even have to be, you know, super positive. Like if your belief is like, I believe, you know, working, you only make good money if you work extra hard, or like it's, you know, like I believe you only make good money if someone gives you a job, or like if you know someone in the company, and then you change it, like I would like to believe that it's possible to get a job based on merit or effort. Could be a nice paradigm shift, like just like a little bit, a small twist. And another final, I think, thing before I dive into the rising signs, it could be lovely to talk about your problems and talk to the person if you have any issues with them with honesty and care. Like practice being honest and caring at the same time. So let's take a look at all the rising signs. And once again, it's a larger cycle, but you can also look at June this year and see what was happening in your life and what now might be completing and changing in the sector of the chart that I'm going to be talking about. So if you are an Aries rising, this full moon is happening in your 3rd house and it's trining Jupiter in the 11th. So there might be a change in your neighborhood or in your living situation. For some of you, maybe you're moving in with your sibling, maybe you're moving in with someone new, maybe your neighbor is leaving you, right? Like maybe they're going off on their own and now you're starting a new journey. You need to figure out what your dynamic is going to be like, what's your relationship to your apartment or your neighborhood is going to be like. So there's definitely a possibility of changes around neighbors, siblings. There might be changes to your technology or your vehicle, because 3rd house deals with daily routine, everything you use on a day-to-day basis, like your phone, your computer, your car, people you see on a daily basis. So there may be a little bit of like closing, letting go of something, right? Like maybe it's technology that needs to be upgraded. Maybe it's, you know, neighbor, maybe you've been taking a class, because 3rd house also deals with your skills, and maybe you realize that you have a very kind of like serious skill that you can invest into. Like I have a friend, she's been playing with the idea, she's an Aries rising, and she's been playing with the idea of becoming a full-time photographer or having like a second job that deals with taking pictures. So since, you know, this moon is trining Jupiter in the 11th house, it's saying that there's a desire you have to expand, and desire you have to meet new people, try new things, volunteer, give back somehow. And like with full moon in the 3rd house, there might be completion to your physical realm, to your schedule, to your skills, something that will let you get there. So if you're not, you know, if there's still things missing that you can add to your schedule, or any skills or hobbies you need to expand and explore, this would be a great time. And if this is resonating with you, if you are an Aries rising, let me know how it's playing out in your life in the comments below. For Taurus rising, this full moon is happening in the 2nd house and it's trining Jupiter in your 10th. So this feels very much like a financial bonus or a recognition. 2nd house deals with money, so there's definitely a possibility of financial reward. And it's also the house of self-esteem. So Jupiter, Saturn being in your 10th house all year, there's been a lot of work. You know, there's been like a lot of kind of persevering and putting things in motion and like struggling perhaps. So maybe you get a bonus. If you know the astrologer Tuda Bava, his channel is called Nightlight Astrology. He's been doing Kickstarter for his channel, and I think, you know, for him this might be like the closing of his Kickstarter, like the completion, some kind of like completion of the work that you put in that results in either a financial reward or an increased self-esteem. So let me know how it plays out for you in the comments below. For Gemini risings, this full moon is happening in the first house and it's trining Jupiter in the 9th house. So this is a change to your personality, to your appearance. There might be a completion of a long personal project that deals with education, travel, legal matters, or a friend of mine has been playing with the idea of starting a podcast. So maybe it's a project that you've devoted a lot of time and now you see a change to it. You see, maybe it turns from an idea in your mind to like an actual, born project. Maybe you announce it on social media. Like one of the manifestations of having a full moon in your first house could be expressing your new idea, like telling people about this project. Maybe you're rebranding, maybe you're changing your appearance, maybe you're changing your business goals and design and logo and anything like that. Positive changes to your health are possible, but it also feels very much because Jupiter is in the 9th house. Maybe you've been studying for a while. Maybe you've been planning to move to another country. Maybe there was like I mentioned in the beginning, like a legal matter that is now coming full circle and you can see how your life is affected by it. With Jupiter in the 9th house, it's also possible that in the last 6 months or the last even 18 months, your view of yourself has changed and your view of how you depend on other people, how you interact with other people has also changed. Maybe even like your place in the world. It's likely that you have learned to believe in yourself and see yourself differently. So now with this full moon, could be useful to take a look back at the last 6 months and see who you are now and how your appearance, how your goals need to change accordingly to the changes you've been through in the last 12 months or 6 months. For Cancer risings, this full moon is happening in the 12th house and it's trining Jupiter in the 8th. So Jupiter in the 8th could bring some kind of like financial bonus if we're talking about money. Like maybe money comes to you from other people. Maybe someone forgives the debt you have to them. Maybe they say, it's okay, you don't have to pay me, just, do something else. Like give me, I don't know, paint my logo or something. So there might be a resource coming. Maybe it's a governmental payment. Maybe it's a return of investment. Maybe it's an inheritance. There's a chance of something that comes into your life that allows for more freedom, because the full moon in the 12th house could bring a completion of some kind of like mental turmoil. It could also be something that allows you to take more breaks, to devote more time to your spirituality, because full moon in the 12th house is very much an introspective period, a period where you should go within, journal, meditate, listen to your intuition, anything like that. And another Jupiter in the 8th house possibility is that if you are in therapy, maybe you experience some kind of healing breakthrough. You realize something about your family and that allows you to find more peace. Full moon in the 12th house could also lead you to let go of bad habits, let go of any self-defeating notions. Definitely pay attention to how you're talking to yourself and what can you change in those dynamics. How can you be nicer to yourself? And let me know if you've been feeling it, if you are a Cancer rising, in the comments below. For Leo risings, this full moon is happening in your 11th house and it's trining Jupiter in your 7th house. So there could be positive changes to your friendships. Maybe 6 months ago you felt like you don't know who is in your network, you didn't know who, you didn't feel a sense of belonging. And now with a full moon in Gemini, you may actually feel like, okay, these people I really like, they feel, like they support me. There's a chance that with a full moon in the 11th, that's one of your dreams is coming to a completion, and it's likely because you have met the right people. Maybe you've entered in a creative partnership, maybe you've entered in a romantic partnership. If your dream was always to get married or get engaged, there's a possibility of like a completion of a dream. a group project can be coming to a fruition and completion. You know, like if you've been volunteering or you've been working on something with your friends, maybe now it's closing. And 11th house also deals with social media, your fans, society at large. So there might be changes in the role you play in those spheres. Maybe you start a social media account, or you started it 6 months ago and now it's starting to do really well. Maybe you're finding a support group as far as like people supporting your work, you know, your fan base. And it's also a possibility that maybe you have found a way to give back and to get engaged with more people in the process. For all of the Virgo risings, this full moon is happening in your 10th house of career, and it's trining Jupiter in your 6th house. So it's possible that all of your hard work is paying off. You are a Virgo rising, you are very hardworking and dedicated and patient, and the last year and a half has been all about work. There's been a lot of focus, maybe changing careers, maybe trying to figure out your path. And with the full moon in the 10th house, there's a chance that you'll get recognition. For one of my Virgo rising astrologer friends, she's publishing a book. So, you know, like she's been working on it for a really long time, and finally this dream is coming to a completion. There might be on a smaller kind of level, maybe you're completing a project at work, maybe you're letting go of a job that you felt dissatisfied of, but it's also likely that whatever is happening in your professional realm is making you feel more recognized, more appreciated, financially rewarded, and also possibly better health-wise. Maybe part of the change that you're going through deals with, you know, choosing more rest and allowing yourself to take more breaks. Maybe it's literally an understanding you've felt that you don't have to work as much. Like, you know, your worth as a human being doesn't just depend on the number of hours you put in at work. For my Libra risings, if you, so this full moon is happening in your 9th house, and it's trining Jupiter in the 5th house. So there might be a new person of a foreign nature coming into your life because, you know, Jupiter is in the 5th house. Maybe it sends you someone fun. There is also possibilities of a completing education. Maybe you were a student and now you're ready to become a teacher. I am teaching a webinar, my second ever webinar on the astrology of 2022, and I'm a Libra rising, so it's definitely applying to me. There's a chance that there's a change in some kind of cycle of expansion in your life. If you've been studying, if you've been planning a trip, if you've been learning about religion, philosophy, reading some kind of books, maybe you've been gathering a lot of information and now you're finally ready to share, right? Perhaps, or like you're ready to absorb it. For some of you, maybe you're going on a trip. If you've been planning a trip, I'm going on a trip, so it's a possibility, like, you know, maybe you're traveling, maybe you're moving, maybe part of the last 18 months have been about you figuring out where you want to live and where you see yourself. And for the rest of you, if you are involved in any kind of legal procedures or like legal issues, they can finally get resolved, and hopefully in your favor, because Jupiter being in the 5th house is lending a supportive hand. It just seems like whatever that change is happening in your 9th house, which is education, travel, beliefs, philosophies, it brings more joy. It makes you feel happier because it's aspecting Jupiter in the 5th house. For Scorpio risings, this full moon is happening in the 8th house, and it's trining Jupiter in your 4th house. So there's likely some kind of positive changes connected to your home and family, your living situation, that increases your financial well-being. So maybe you move into a place that your family gives you, maybe your family helps you pay off your debt somehow, or just, you know, like you connect with your family on a deeper level that also results in your healing. Changes are possible to your partner's finances. Maybe, you know, maybe they get an inheritance or something happens where they get like a boost in money, and that allows you guys to pursue new things. There's also money can be coming from some kind of like investment you've had. Maybe it's the government, maybe you, I don't know. Do people pay taxes right now? It's not like necessarily the time for it, but there's there's definitely a chance of like some kind of financial influx. Full moon in the 8th house can also be connected to healing and releasing certain fears, examining your attachments, examining things you maybe are holding on to tightly, and things that you should transform and like find ways to release. Perhaps that will also result in a happier, calmer, relationship with your family and just like feeling overall happier. For Sag risings, this full moon is happening in the 7th house, and there has been a lot of focus for Sag risings on relationships over the course of the last year and a half, and it's trining Jupiter in your 3rd house. So this feels like an important, happy change in your relationships that is connected to Jupiter in the 3rd house. So, and it could be you or it could be your partner, right? So on a personal level, maybe Jupiter in the 3rd house inspires you to talk about things that are bothering you. Maybe you are kind of like figuring out what skills you need to take. Maybe you have signed up for a class. Maybe you've been doing or you're starting to do things that make you happy and kind of, like improve your skills, make you feel happier in the world. You're pursuing passions and projects that get you excited, and that leads to an improved relationship. So definitely full moon in the 7th house can bring significant changes to your marriage, to your business partnership. Maybe you've started one and now you're ready to commit to it, or you're completing a project with your partner, or like I said, maybe there's a change in your partner's life that is affecting you. For Capricorn risings, this full moon is happening in your 6th house and it's trining Jupiter in your 2nd house. So full moon in the 6th can bring an end to a health issue. If you've been dealing with any kind of like health issue, or you've been dedicating time to taking care of someone, even if it's a tough work project that you've been investing yourself into, full moon in the 6th can mean that you're done with that. Like you're done devoting a lot of your time to something that maybe feels monotone or mundane or unexcited. And with Jupiter in the 2nd, it is possible that you will get a reward for the work that you've put in. So let's say it's a health situation, right? Like maybe over the course of the last 6 months, you've invested a lot of time in eating better and exercising every day, and now you see the results. The results may not be as obvious to other people, but it can literally just be you feeling better internally. If it's a commitment to another person, or if it's a commitment to an education project, you may actually get a financial bonus. Maybe you've been taking courses to improve your level at work and they recognize you with a pay raise. There might be possibilities professionally, and I think also overall improved well-being, even if that means that you can allow yourself to relax a little bit more. Do that. As a Capricorn rising, you probably don't relax as much as you should. For my Aqua risings, this full moon is happening in your 5th house and it's trining Jupiter in your 1st. So 5th house is connected to joy and fun and creativity, romance, children, anything that puts a smile on your face. And it's aspecting Jupiter in the 1st, which likely means that over the last 16 months, or even more so, you have done something that allows you to feel more happy. Maybe you moved to a new location, maybe you've found new hobbies and you pursued things that bring you joy and make you feel excited. Maybe you've been working on a creative project with someone and now it comes to a completion. Whatever it is, there's definitely a chance of you feeling better about yourself. And it could be a lovely time to look at your relationships and look at your romantic pursuits or creative pursuits, or even the lives of your children or your relationship with your children, and figure out ways in which you can connect better. You can maybe enjoy your time together in a more quality time kind of way. And for some of you, if you have been trying to get pregnant, this could be a time that you hear the good news or actually have a child. Finally, for my Pisces risings, this full moon is happening in your 4th house and is trining Jupiter in the 12th house. So I know for some of you it hasn't been the easiest time having Saturn and Jupiter in your 12th house. There may be a feeling of a lot of things happening that are out of your control. Maybe, you know, family is tough to deal with, or there's just like things happening that you cannot fully grasp, which tends to be the nature of the 12th house. But with this full moon, there is a chance that something nice happens in the realm of home and family. Maybe you find out something about your parents, maybe you just feel more supported, and that kind of allows the background noise of things you cannot control recede in the background. You know, full moon in the 4th can indicate a completion of a home renovation project, a move, a new member in the family, just feeling like finding a way to feel more secure in the home. And it's likely that some of your 12th house matters you've been dealing with are connected to your early beginnings and like your early upbringing. So maybe just by feeling supported, or like revising where you come from, revising the way you see your family and the way you see your life, and that could in turn make you feel better. But definitely some physical manifestations of the full moon in the 4th house is like completing a move. Even like, what if you started looking for a place maybe 6 months ago, and now you finally buy a home or you move. And then on a more inner level, there could be a rediscovery of a sense of comfort and security in the home. Or maybe it could also even literally be like, there's a lot of drama going on in your life or things that you cannot control, but astrology is a sense of relief. Spirituality brings you relief. So look at those ethereal, spiritual things. If you cannot control your life matters, there is things out there, tools, religion, faith, spirituality that can be helpful on your path. I hope this resonates. Let me know if it does in the comments below, and I'll talk to you very soon. Bye.